Okay. Hi, you guys. How are you both? I'm so excited to talk to you.
We're good. How are you?
Hank, are you awake over there?
I'm so excited to talk to you, and I yawned.
No, I'm just kidding. So, Hank, in the upcoming episode of For Life entitled 354, you all tackle the issue of COVID-19 in the prison system. According to the Marshall Project and the Associated Press, an estimated 1 in 5 prisoners in the U.S. have died from COVID-19. And a recent Times article stated that with over 275,000 infections and 1,700 deaths, COVID-19 has devastated the U.S. prison and jail population. As series creator and executive producer, why was this topic so important for you to address now?
Well, For Life exists, it's a contemporary drama. It's set in the now, and it was already set up to be confronting, the issues of our time, which is mass incarceration, unlawful, incarceration, the corruption within the system, the inequities against Black and brown people and in this country. And so then when, the coronavirus hit and it was hitting the prisons so hard, well, our main character, just got out of prison. So, what better way to tackle it? And he's a lawyer and he can go,
Right.
So it perfectly and easily flowed into a great idea for an episode. Have him go back to his old prison, try to uncover what's happening there and try to help his old friends. So it was a very natural way to do it. And we put it inside the engine of an entertaining, kind of a thriller setup. Where he goes back there to try to figure out what exactly is happening. So we set it at the beginning of COVID, within the first 3 or 4 weeks when everything was shrouded in mystery and nobody really knew what was happening, and people didn't even understand that masks were effective yet, and or how it was really transmitted, and so it just was very natural for in the DNA of the show to go explore that.
Definitely. And Isaac, I have to ask you, did you ever encounter a similar situation as COVID-19 when you were incarcerated, like an infectious breakout and something similar to what's going on now in the prison system with COVID-19?
Well, during the time when I was in the prison system, the decimation that occurred during that time was AIDS. And AIDS, what a lot of people didn't know. The statistics now, there's so many things with social media that kind of provides a flashlight in the prison system that wasn't there before. But, the prison system was decimated by AIDS. You had people that were coming in that were, a lot of crimes are committed because you have drug problems, and you have people coming in that had AIDS already utilizing intravenous drugs. And it spread from there. And so, there wasn't this airborne issue in prisons, but there were people who actually was coming into prison who was actually dying and didn't know it until they got to prison. Because one thing that happens in prison is when you go in there, you have to do a full medical examination. And so you had people that had AIDS for a couple of years who didn't know it until they got arrested and they went to prison, and when went through the system, they were infected. But that was the thing when I was in prison. It was an AIDS epidemic.
Hank, at its core, For Life centers around criminal justice and criminal justice reform. What's next for Aaron in his journey to fully becoming the social justice warrior that he ultimately becomes?
Have you seen the next 2 episodes, or just the COVID-centered one?
Just the COVID.
Okay, so
the COVID episode.
In the following week, Aaron is going to take up the case of an unarmed Black man who's shot by the police, and that's going to begin a long arc on the last 4 episodes of the season, where Aaron is confronted in the aftermath of. It takes place after George Floyd has been murdered, and it thrusts Aaron into the heart of the seminal moment that's happening, and it's going to begin for his character. It's a very natural way to have his character now blossom into the social justice warrior character, that Isaac has now become.
Right. Isaac, you have said that watching Nicholas on screen as Aaron, it's been therapeutic for you. How have you been able to work through the trauma of your own experience behind bars and ultimately use it to inspire others, but also to heal in the process?
Well, the healing process is, that's going to be an infinite an infinite process. The healing process is never going to be over. And the profession that I decided to take, it adds on to that. One of the things about Aaron, Nicholas, and Aaron, and watching that journey is that the therapeutic process of it. There's a parallel reopening of a wound part of it also. So as I am flushing out some of the weight, going through this series and watching on TV and watching Nicholas perform as Aaron, what's also happening as I'm going back to that time in history, that time in my life, and I am remembering other collateral issues that was a part of that journey and that I have never dealt with or that needs to be dealt with. And so, there's a yin yang about it where I have a lot of weight lifted off my shoulders, but I also remember that I have a lot of other things that needs to be dealt with at the same time.
That's good. Hank, I have to ask you, you've mentioned in interviews before that, several people wanted to do a show similar to this one. What was it about Isaac's story that you said, okay, this can work? I feel like viewers would resonate with this one. Why was this the right story for you?
Yeah, people have attempted to do the jailhouse lawyer story before, and I haven't, but I don't know why those other attempts, succeeded or didn't succeed. But I heard the story, and then I met Isaac, and when we talked, it started to click in to me, and I've just been channeling the spirit of Isaac, the ethos of Isaac, the resilience of Isaac into the character, even though the exact plot of Aaron Wallace's life and troubles start to veer away from Isaac's. The essence, the core, the spirit of it is always in alignment, and I think there's just something about being with the person that's real, and it's not just, oh my God, can you believe that happened? That's real. There are details that I got from Isaac, textures that I got from Isaac, an understanding of how the prison system really works, what it means to be a prisoner, the code in there, the code of ethics, how the friendships work, the loyalties, what the dynamic is between his character, who was the prison paralegal and prisoner rep, and the warden, which is such an important and unique element of the first season. I never would have understood any of that. Just having the idea of have a guy who was wrongly accused become a lawyer. So it's all of that texture that I think is what actually makes the show work. It's not just the large idea of innocent man wrongly accused. We've seen a lot of that. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's the detail and the texture that I got from Isaac that screams out to the audience, that makes it feel real, that makes it feel emotional, that makes it feel interesting, complicated, and something they haven't seen before.
One of the things that if I
and it definitely works.
Yeah, if I can add, one of the things that we lose in the awe of the show and in the awe of the inspiration behind the show is really the awe of the time. We live in a world of social media now. And people are born now into not even understanding some of the privacies that they've lost. We do, but the younger people, they don't understand it. And I say that to say this. This was in the 90s. There was no social media. This was during a time of mass incarceration where the annihilation of Black and brown people within the criminal justice system was taking place with impunity. And so you have to put what happened into context. That this was done by a Black person in an environment and at a time where it was completely and utterly impossible to do. So those details that Hank is talking about, the backdrop of those details, the backdrop was impossibility. And I think that was one of the things, even when we were talking about it, that was one of the things that resonated more than anything else, is that it was done in a time and during a time where it's just unheard of. Whether people says it won't happen again or whether it's unheard of today, definitely in the 90s, and especially for a black man to get a white police officer to confess on the stand. I mean, all of these things are completely unheard of. And so, you know, I think that creatively, you know, when you have someone like Hank, that's, as far as I'm concerned, is a genius. All he needs is a little bit. He just needs a little bit. But I think he got a lot, and so that really resonated with him, and he created a beautiful show behind it.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
It's indeed a beautiful show. Hank, Isaac, thank you both. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Where is the buzz you said was mine?